Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special Comic Book Wednesday sci-fi book update. Well, sci-fi and fantasy a little bit, mostly sci-fi though. So, swung by the used bookstore about 5 months ago and got a bunch of new books and completely forgot to do an update about them. So, we're going to make up for that right now. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. Sci-fi books and at least one fantasy book today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. So, let's start off with a little something that you might recall from my previous update about sci-fi books, where I went to the used bookstore and I got a bunch of different books, one of which was a Star Trek book that I was sure that I didn't have. Specifically, I picked up Star Trek the Motion Picture. Now, this isn't one of the current pickups, this is what I got last time. But, as I mentioned, it turns out I already had it. And the one I already had is in much nicer condition. So, great. So I have a rattier version of a book I already have. No, as it turns out, the one that I actually needed... and it turns out I already had Price of the Phoenix as well. However, the version that I got at the used bookstore, which was this one, is in nicer condition than the one that I had. So, there you go. It all kind of balances out. Now, as it turns out, the one that I actually needed was this one. No, this isn't the one I got. We'll get to the ones I got in a minute here. I'm just giving you some backstory. This is the one I've had for years, since I was 10. So this is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan photo story. Now, the thing is, I also have the novelizations of Star Treks 1 through 6, except for Star Trek II. So Star Trek II has been kind of the black sheep of my novelization collection, because the only adaptation I have of it, or had of it, was this, the photo story. Now, I'll just say right off the bat, they had Star Trek II. I actually went the week after doing that update, and they actually had it in stock then, and a really nice copy of it too. So now I'm happy to report I actually have Star Treks 1 through 6, the novelizations of all of them. But I was going to say something about this photo novel. As you may notice, it's all black and white. Okay. Now, this was kind of strange, because they had done a lot of Star Trek photo novels in the past, adapting episodes from the show. However, they were in full color. I mean, look at that. It's beautiful. Beautiful reproductions of the pictures, too. I mean, they must have been straight off the original film. I mean, they did a very, very nice job with them. So this, of course, is the famous Trouble with Tribbles episode. But it's great. I mean, they're basically comic books that, that use actual photos from the show. So they did the same thing with Star Trek II, but all in black and white. I mean, it's very nice. They're very nice black and white photos. But yeah, I don't know. And this one, they did a little bit different format. It's not quite the straight-up comic book format. They more have the captions on the side, like beside the pictures or above the pictures or what have you. So, I don't know. It's kind of strange that they did it that way, especially when they had done so many photo novels in the past. I mean, I don't know how many they did, but they did a bunch of them. Like, I've got this one, and I got one other one. I can't remember which episode it is. But, so, I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. All right, so on to some stuff that I got that I didn't have. So I finally, at least I got the Star Trek II novel, so that's good. So now I've got that set complete. So you may recall in a couple of sci-fi book updates ago, I picked up 2 books from the Lensman series by E. Doc Smith. Well, I found another one. Now, this is from, I think, a later printing of them than the ones I got before. The ones I got before were, like, from the 60s. This is this from the 80s? This is from, Yeah, this is originally a 1978 edition, reprinted in 1986. So this is the second book in the series. Even though it's called First Lensman, it's actually the second book in the series. What is the first book anyway? The first book is Triplanetary. Yeah, I don't have that one yet. So can't sit down and read them just yet because I'm still missing a bunch. But yeah, very cool. These are pretty hard to find. They actually haven't been in print for quite a number of years. In fact, I think this might be the most recent printing, 30 years ago. So hopefully, we might get some new editions at some point. In the meantime, every time I swing by the used bookstore, I keep an eye out for these and see if they got any more that I don't already have. And then a while back, you may recall I did a big video about the original book and the movie, and I read one of the spin-off books that kind of told a parallel story that ran parallel to the original. I'm, of course, talking about the Ender's Game series. Really enjoyed the original book. Really enjoyed Ender's Shadow, which is the parallel story I mentioned. In fact, I think I enjoyed Ender's Shadow a little bit more than the original. So I thought it was about time to go back to the series and kind of pick up where I left off. So I picked up the second book, Speaker for the Dead. So this is basically the story of what Ender did after the events of Ender's Game. So pretty cool. And then there's a couple more. There's Xenocide, I think, is the third one. And then what is the fourth one? Children of the Mind or something. I can't remember. Anyway, maybe it says in here. Let's see. Children of the Mind. Yes. Okay, I actually had that right. And then we get into the parallel stories. Like we've got Ender's Shadow, which I have, and then Shadow of the Hegemon, Shadow Puppets, and there's more than that. That's just as far as they got when this edition was published. So this, of course, is the author's definitive edition, much like the edition I got of Ender's Game. So yeah, so looking forward to checking this out when time permits. And also, it was a really nice condition. So I mean, for the price, what was it, like $3? $4.50. Okay, so it's a little more. But I mean, if you can get them in that kind of condition at the used bookstore, yeah, save some money. And then next up, this is pretty cool. This is one that I kind of was eyeballing for a while and just never got around to getting. We have Battlestar Galactica, Armageddon. So this is actually Richard Hatch, who played Apollo in the original series, wrote a bunch of Star Trek, a bunch of Battlestar Galactica novels that actually continued the story from the end of the original series. Now, he was always a huge supporter of the show and was always very good to fans. He even tried to get the show revived a number of times until eventually it came back in the sort of reimagined series from, 2004, which I still haven't seen, actually. I've only ever seen the original. But this was a continuation of the original series, and I think this actually predates the reimagined series. Oh yeah, this came out in 1997, so this predates the reimagined series by like 7 years. So yeah, pretty cool stuff, and in like impeccable condition. I mean, this is beautiful condition. So I'm not sure how many he wrote, but I know he did at least a couple. So yeah, so if I see any others around, I'll probably grab them. It's pretty cool. Now, I've always been a huge fan of Cyberpunk, and this is one that I actually do have a paperback edition of this, but this was, but it's a fairly well-read paperback. Not by me; it was a gift from a friend a while back. But this was a really nice trade paperback edition of it. We have Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash, which is considered one of the all-time great cyberpunk novels, following the adventures of hero protagonist. Love that name. So, also, I like the text and the layout of this one a little bit better. It seems to be a little bit easier on the eyes as far as reading goes. As I recall, the paperback was quite dense and very small print. The eyes aren't what they used to be, so I appreciate the easier to read layout. So, yeah, so looking forward to finally sitting down and reading this, which, I have not had the chance to do so yet. And I've heard nothing but good things about it. I mean, this is considered one of the all-time greats, so definitely want to check it out. Got to get caught up on William Gibson, too. I've only read about half of his books and loved every one of them, so I think I'm only missing a couple, too. I've got most of the ones that he read. Anyway, last but most certainly not least, I have a couple editions of this. But this particular one just kind of jumped off the shelf at me. I thought, oh, this is beautiful. I need to get this. And it was fairly cheap, too, at, what was it? I don't even know how much it was. $15. But, a bargain for this quality of book. So we have this beautiful hardcover illustrated edition of The Hobbit. So look at this. It's illustrated by Michael Haig. And if we just take a look here. But it is the complete unabridged text. So if we look here, it has these beautiful full-color art plates in it. Like that. And we take a little scan through here. We got, of course, Tolkien's maps. And, look at this. This is the party with where all the dwarves show up. Yeah, good stuff. And then if we go a little ways down. Here we are. Yeah, there we go. So you got Smog. Yeah, very cool stuff. You probably want to see Gollum, don't you? Let me just see if we can find a picture of Gollum here. Hold on a second, I'll find it for you. Here we are. Yeah, so there's Bilbo talking to Gollum. Very nice. Yeah, so overall, very nice edition. Just kind of a nice, companion piece to the other Hobbit editions I have. But I anytime I see something like this for such a good price and in such perfect condition, it's beautiful. They have the plastic over the slipcover or the dust jacket, so it's actually in perfect condition. A little bug that just leapt out at me. Let me just squish that guy and get him out of there. Stop eating my books. Anyway, very nice edition indeed. Let's put all these up here, shall we? So we got Snow Crash, and we got Speaker for the Dead, and Battlestar Galactica, and we got Lensman, and then of course we have Star Trek. There we go. Lots of new books for the Sci-Fi shelf. Alrighty, well that is it from me to you for now, folks. So thank you very much for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors. Be sure to swing by Twitch if you feel so inclined. I stream just about every day. There's a bunch of people watching me film these updates right now too, actually. So you could be there for the next one, whatever it is. Alrighty, well, have yourselves a great day or night or whatever, and I will see you next time. Until then, sayonara.